Hi, Eder Zanetti. Brazilian native trees, an inconvenient true. I like to start by thank you again for all of you that asked for an English translation of those articles. I would like also to state that I can do it in Spanish, in German, in Italian, and French. So if you need some other translations, please ask me. Well, in Brazil, criminalization of the use of native trees is directly related to the advance on plantations of exotic species. The more pine and eucalyptus you plant in Brazil, the more restrictions are imposed to use mahogany, ipe, and other native trees. Just as you have a teenager which uses to drop school now vomiting a lot of idiotic comments to the world, the environmentalists that run it from school are the ones supporting this initiative in Brazil. They spread this as a climate solution to stop the use of native trees. Those people, they just drop the school. If they study, if they learn, then they will know better. Native trees are a natural richness of Brazil, which is a prize for the country, and it could not be different. It awakened greed, yes, and this greed has done that a small group of enterprise and families here produced, the elites produced materials, mediatic materials, and did a brainwashed on an army of ignorant people here in the country. The money was used to brainwash people. It financed environmental NGOs, corrupted public agents, and the leftist media in the country. Yeah, they are trying to keep this lie alive, and there is the role of Embrapa in Brazil in that. I have a special chapter for that if you want to hear. The lie has short legs. Brazilian native trees are an inconvenient true, which is capable of reversing global warming right away, while the land they occupy will keep the phenomena for advancing in a decisive way. Yep. Brazilian native tree species are an inconvenient true for the pinus and eucalyptus planters in the country. And if the Brazilian native trees are used for social inclusion and in development in economical development, they will improve environmental quality in a broad conception. You will be cultivating native tree species. At the same time that the cultivation of native tree species, will advance in Brazil, the devaluation of eucalyptus pine and eucalyptus plantations will come. So that's why the law in Brazil avoids and devaluate native tree species in order to keep the worst income concentration in the planet. The forestry sector in Brazil is the worst, has the worst income distribution in the planet. It has in Brazil, it has in the planet. Yeah, only in this country we have almost 100% of plantations from exotic species, and the result is the worst income concentration in the planet. Yeah, as we go along and increase the use of native species, then we will have further social inclusion and economical development and environmental quality. 60% of this country is occupied by native trees, yeah? Which has colors, flavors, designs, smells that are particular. They have durability, trabalability, tension, and other technical characteristics that occur in a variety that would suffice the most exigent consumer in the planet. Yes? And if we start distributing using more tropical woods, we will see that the billionaire investments that are supposed to come to further increase the income concentration in Brazil will be distributed. Yes, the criminalization of native tree species is a large burden for Brazilian producers. Not only the ones that produces timber, but the ones that produces grains, food, protein. The prices in Brazil are high because we cannot use the area where the native trees are. But you must know, huh, the Brazilian standing stock of mature trees, native ones, are of 150 billion cubic meters. 120 billion cubic meters only in the Amazon. This is 150 billion tons of CO2 that can be used in the construction all over the globe. If we, the negative balance of anthropogenic emissions in the world is around 3 billion tons per year. With this 150 billion cubic meters tons of wood, we could stop this increment of greenhouse gases over the next 50 years, and this is not much. I mean, people consume globally, we consume 20 billion tons, 20 billion cubic meters of cement and steel every year on construction sector. 50% of that could come from tropical woods, and that's it. We don't have any negative balance on the greenhouse gases in the planet. You just have to start using the tropical woods. And the land where these tropical woods are, they can be cultivated again with native tree species. And we don't need that much, with 20% of the land. We need to sequester and storage another 3 billion tons per year. This would demand 80 million hectares of land. Today we cultivated 10, so it's 7 times more. It's pretty feasible. And with that, we not only stop global warming, but we start reverting it. We will be taking out of the atmosphere more than people can produce. So the solution to revert climate change is the use, broad, extensive, intensive, of tropical woods around the globe. And this would demand 80 million hectares of reforestation from the 560 million hectares that are used today by native trees, which means we would have another 480 million hectares of land to be cultivated. No, nobody will suffer from lack of food in the planet any longer, or lack of fibers. No country in the developed world open, gave up of using or its native trees or its land to, sustain its society, improve its economical performance, and assure its environmental quality for its population. So it's time that the inconvenient truth about tropical timbers gain the streets.